What if I were to tell you that there is a technique that we could use to teach writing to students where it wouldn't matter if they used AI to write their essay? Now, this is something pretty new and pretty controversial, but I want to share with you a new technique, a new method that I've put together that I think could help to address one of the number one issues that I have faculty coming to me for, which is, hey, my student, I'm trying to teach them writing, and my student is simply turning to AI and it's doing all the work for them. So it's basically they're not learning anything. So with this new technique, which I call the four-phase AI method of writing instruction, with this technique, I'm going to show you the different phases and how we can teach students how to write. And in this process, we're going to be using AI at different levels in different ways. And guess what? It's going to be okay if they use the AI to write their essay for them because it's going to be structured and done in such a way that it'll make sense, and we will for sure have development of that student so that they can actually write and that they can actually know what write looks like when they're using the AI. Okay, so let's break this down piece by piece. The first phase here is dealing with foundational writing skills development. That's phase one. The second phase deals with understanding of different essay types. Several different types. It can be as many as you want, but we're going to concentrate on a few. The third one deals with prompt engineering development. From there, we have number four, which is the final phase, which is the use of AI for writing with full personal accountability. Four phases, each one done separately, and they build upon each other. And you'll see what I mean. I'm going to explain each one of these, and I want you to give me feedback because this is sort of an initial development. I'm still writing up all the specifics for it, but I have enough here that I wanted to share this with you as soon as possible because I see this as a huge need right now for all instructors that are currently working to teach students how to write essays, but they're running into this issues of academic misconduct and all this different thing. Additionally, we need to help students know how to properly write with AI. So now the question would be, well, why? Why use this technique? What would be the benefits for it, right? I already mentioned that, hey, we could use this technique so that it doesn't matter if the students actually use AI to help them write an essay. So that would be one key benefit. The other one is that this is going to have a focus on developing students' foundational knowledge of writing. So their ability to create multiple essay types and understand the key concepts of good writing. So that's another key benefit because that's the focus here. The other one is that this helps with reduction of the instructor's time focusing on those things, right? I don't have to constantly be worrying, okay, did this student use AI for this essay? I can't really tell, I'm not sure. Let me go through this huge process of doing a text review, an AI text reviewer to go. All of that can be eliminated because that isn't the focus anymore. So now that's another great benefit. And also this helps to directly develop their students' understanding of effective writing by using things like critical thinking, by helping them understand AI literacy, what it's all about, and then also by directly developing their skills in using AI. So we're going to develop AI skills as well as teach them about AI literacy and help them understand that they must use critical thinking in order to create the best product overall, which will be this essay that's going to be done in conjunction with the AI. Now, right there, I mentioned product, but the whole course, the whole method focuses on the process as well, because both of those two things are important. It's not just about the product and it's not just about the process, but both are of vital importance in order to have overall good quality. So now let's go through each of the individual phases. The first phase of foundational writing skills development focuses on instruction and assessment on key aspects of writing. Here we'll have short blocks of instruction dealing with key aspects of writing pertaining to sentence structure, paragraph structure, transitional sentences, use of personal voice, what goes into researching the specifics for this writing, outlining, what is a thesis statement, and any other needed writing components. Pedagogy behind this deals with multiple student-centered pedagogical techniques, such as discussions, pairing students up to work on worksheets, where they have to identify good and bad components, games and questions about writing aspects, in-class writing competitions to come up with great thesis statements, all sorts of things. The focus here is that, of course, we want to have student-centered instruction, but the key is that we're maximizing class time to develop these foundational skills, foundational knowledge about writing. So any type of pedagogy could be used as long as it's good and student-centered to help develop their understanding of these key concepts. And that's all that we're focusing on right now is foundational knowledge. One of the big things that I have lots of faculty worry about is that, hey, if they're just using AI to write their essays, then they're never going to learn foundational aspects of good key parts of writing. So the idea here is that with this instructional technique, before we ever get to using AI, we verify and ensure that they have good foundational knowledge about proper writing. So that deals with the sentence structure, transitions, all these things. So that's really important as well. For assessment, of course, we're going to be using both formative and summative assessments to ensure that the students are developing and also to provide them with feedback on how they're developing. So here the idea would be to use quizzes and tests with a mixture of multiple choice questions, fill in the blank, short answer, where they are exposed to writing samples and they have to identify as well as modify text in order to express their understanding of key aspects of writing. Additional components here would be that we would create assessments where they would have to modify text to put in their own personal voice. But that's a big one itself. What is personal voice? I'm defining personal voice as development and expression of students' unique personalities, styles, and perspectives in their writing, made up of distinct combination of word choice, arrangement, tone, and authentic personal insight. So that's a big thing there, right? Is that one of the big fears is that if we start to use AI for our writing, that we'll lose all the personal aspects of this. So by focusing on that at the very beginning and explaining to students that, yeah, your personal voice, that's an important part of this, that's an important aspect of your writing, that will go a long way to help fight against that when people in the future start to use AI for most of their writing. So we're laying down good foundational knowledge about that. And I'll be honest with you, I never once in my whole time going to college, getting a master's degree, getting a PhD, I never had a single class talk to me about personal voice, about the importance of it. It was all about structure, it was all about conformity, it was all about going with a formula. So there's never anything about, hey, it needs to be more personal. That was always left out. So if we want that, if we want students to develop that, we need to be explicit and help them understand that. So that should be an important part of this foundational knowledge component of this method. So that's phase one, making sure that they have that foundational information. Next, we're going into understanding of different essay types. So here the instruction assessment is on key aspects of different essay types. For instruction, we have short blocks of instructions. They deal with key differences in the types of essays, such as summary, compare and contrast, synthesis, narrative, argument. Here the students learn that, hey, there are these different types of essays and what is involved with each one. So things like, hey, I need to research about this component that I'm going to be doing maybe a compare and contrast or a synthesis essay on. I need to know about this content. So it would be understanding what research goes into different types of essays. What is the process associated with that? So again, we're developing this skill, this understanding within students, and an understanding that, yeah, there are different types of essays that require different frameworks in order to be successful in doing them. Pedagogy here could be quite varied with multiple student-centered pedagogical techniques. Again, discussions is always great in order to really probe students' understanding. Presenting essays for the class to think about and to identify what type it is. Debates on which essay type should be used for different situations. That's always a powerful technique. In-class writing, where students write out portions of essay types. Again, with proper research and notes on a topic to write about. One of the big things about this overall method is that there is a focus on in-class writing. So again, it's very much hands-on for that writing. No longer is it simply about, hey, let me lecture to you and then send you off and now you do all your writing at home. No, the focus now is we're doing much more writing, much more direct engagement with writing components in the classroom. Assessment here would once again be formative and summative in order to really develop that student and give them feedback along the way. Out-of-class readings, worksheets, AI simulations could all be used to help prepare the student for then in-class quizzes tests using a mixture of multiple choice questions, fill in the blank and short answer, where they're exposed to writing samples and then have to identify what type of essay is this, or they might have to modify text in order to show that they have an understanding of the type of essay. In-class writing exams where students are given research time ahead of class time and notes of a subject, and then students have to create an outline or complete a portion of a specific essay, again, to show their mastery and understanding of that type of essay. This could be on different aspects or parts of different essays, again, essay types. There could also be peer reviews of other students' creations so that we can learn from one another. The next part of this method, dealing with phase 3, is that now we have foundational knowledge. Now we have an understanding of different types of essay types there. And we've got some pretty good skills as far as understanding what that is. So we know what right looks like from foundational knowledge. We know about different essay types. And now we're starting to move forward with starting to have an understanding about AI and how that's going to be used as an assistive tool to help us with this overall process and creation of a good, powerful essay. So the very next phase, this is phase 3, deals with prompt engineering development. So here the focus is on instruction and assessment dealing with effective prompt engineering, and that means using an advanced prompt formula. I've expressed an advanced prompt formula that I generally suggest for most people to use. This is again preliminary because this overall method is still developing, but I would use a similar advanced prompt formula to this one. From here, we would have instruction, again, short blocks of instruction dealing with key aspects of effective prompt engineering to generate good essays. Along with this, we would have an overall development of students' understanding of what is AI literacy. So this would be key. As we're getting ready to help them understand what is prompt engineering, we also develop the student by helping them understand, well, what is AI literacy? Because again, that's a foundational aspect. So things like awareness, what is AI? How is it being used in the world? The good and the bad of AI. So awareness, that's a key aspect of AI literacy. Capability, this is where we're going to develop their understanding of, well, what can AI do? What are its limitations? And then what can I do with AI? So this is where prompt engineering would come in. But then there's other aspects such as understanding that we need to have knowledge about what is going on with AI. How is AI using my content? Is my data safe? Is it secure? What are the good uses of AI? What are bad uses of AI, such as deep fakes and scams? That's all an important aspect of knowledge. And then finally, of course, we need to develop critical thinking, which is another major component of AI literacy. So here's where we would teach them about ethics, aspects of how AI should be used, aspects of, hey, what are the biases that AI might have? What do I need to be looking for when I get a response from the AI, with this understanding that, hey, it won't be perfect and there might be some slants in there because of the bias. Additionally, what about effects that AI is having on the environment? What about mental effects that it might be having on people and society? And then, of course, things like over-reliance. We want to avoid over-reliance, but we won't be able to address over-reliance if we don't learn about it, if we don't understand it. So again, this is another important part of overall AI literacy development, which would be a key part of this phase. Along with that would be an understanding and recognition of the use of an advanced prompt formula, understanding and incorporating of students' voice when creating a prompt, the underlying need to always verify created AI content, reflection and use of prior foundational writing knowledge to properly judge what right looks like, meaning the formatting, word choice, components, flow, etc. And then the importance of iterative design to obtain better results from AI. A key part of an advanced prompt formula is understanding refinement, meaning that, hey, I pose this prompt to the AI, it gives me a result. I don't have to just take it and say that's it. No, what I have to do is get that result, review it, see how it could be modified, see it could be enhanced. Do I need to enhance simply the actual product of what it came out with, or do I need to enhance the actual prompt itself in order to get me better results? So again, it's a mixture of understanding when to do what, and then also to verify the results making sure that this is exactly what I wanted, ensuring that my voice is in there, ensuring that I have a proper flow and it's formatted in just the right way for what is being asked, whether that's from the teacher or in the future, whether that's from the boss as well. So again, these are important aspects for this overall process of using advanced prompt formula to develop good, strong prompt engineering skills to go through and understand how to even create a good essay. Pedagogy for this would be multiple student-centered pedagogical techniques, once again, centered on the student, discussions, worksheets, games where students need to match up prompt sections and answers with AI literacy questions, think, pair, share, requiring students to formulate possible prompt implementations for different essay needs, peer evaluations where students can learn from one another, all sorts of different possibilities with good, strong pedagogy. The assessments, again, we're looking at formative and summative assessments in order to give proper feedback to continue to develop the student in a logical way. Quizzes and tests using a mixture of multiple choice quiz questions, fill in the blank short answer where they're exposed to prompt samples and they have to identify as well as modify text in order to express their understanding of different prompt concepts. In-class writing exams where students have to write or modify an AI prompt so that necessary components of an advanced prompt formula are addressed in order for it to create a better essay. Additionally, completed generated essays could be shown to the student along with the prompt used to challenge students to identify problems with the essay and how the prompt can be modified to better address the AI produced result. The key thing here is that you see how we're slowly developing that student and we're tying in part of this assessment with things that they should have learned before, from that initial foundational knowledge of good writing to understanding different essay types and now to aspects of prompt engineering. So all of that is being assessed in order to ensure that the student is ready to move on to the fourth and final phase of this, which is the use of AI for writing, but we're still making sure that we're holding that student fully accountable, right? So that's phase 4. So here we're putting it all together. The students are assessed on final prompt creation and essay submission via an established rubric. And that's the thing, is that they're going to be using the established rubric, but we need to consider, does anything need to change within that rubric? And I would argue that yes, even though we're still using the same rubric, we can still modify some aspects of it. And before we might have looked at, let's say, grammar and syntax and all those components dealing with that and gave it, 25%, let's say. Maybe we should reconsider that, and that proper grammar should now be a given because they're using the AI. The syntax, the spelling errors, none of that should exist now because the AI is going to be assisting us with that. So I would still put that in within my rubric, but now I would bring it way down. In fact, this could be 10%, 5%. Why? Because this should be a given now that we're using the AI. And now I can concentrate on other components of my rubric. Let's say the student's voice, let's say the formatting, let's say the overall flow, all these different things that, again, I can now think about as far as I want a good essay to be created from that student, but it needs to be more than just some generic essay, right? Because there should be these key components that are within that. So in this phase, I could have already had students create, let's say, an outline in class. They could have done prior reading, and then in class, I tell them, okay, so you're going to be writing about this topic, and this is the angle that I want you to take, but I'm letting you choose some different aspects of it. So now they have to think about what they've read. They might have notes about what they've read, and now they're making an outline. So that's being done in class to hold them accountable for what they're going to be doing. And then in the same way, the prompts that we are creating, this could be structured in class even, because now they're having to put it all together based off of what type of essay is this going to be? What type of angle do I have with my overall outline? What are some specific things that I want to ensure as part of this, meaning some personal reflection or maybe a situation that have occurred to me that deals with this that I want to include in that? I could put that all in the prompt. So that is now going to be part of this as far as how I evaluate a student overall, because I could have these different sections. All of this is part of the overall process. So now when I go through and I have the student, they've created the prompt and that could be evaluated separately. And now I'm having the student take that prompt, take it home, create that essay. That essay, they could turn it in just like that, but a very important part is going to be for them to review it. And if there's anything wrong with that, ties in with the share technique that I've shared before as far as how to really help ensure that students are using AI in the right way. We could do things where like, hey, if a reference is wrong, hallucinated, made up dates, made up stuff like that, that would be a huge penalty within that final essay. Why do we want to do that? To help ensure that that student understands that, yeah, you really need to make sure and verify all that content, because if there's stuff like that that's off, that's wrong, you're going to be held accountable and you're going to lose a lot of points. So again, we're structuring it in such a way that we're allowing the student to use the AI here after they've have an understanding of the right prompt, of the foundational knowledge, but then they're still being held accountable for that final product because they have to verify, they have to ensure that everything is correct. So now we have that component. And that's how we're evaluating that essay. But we could go even further in that, hey, when they turn in that essay, let's say in class, we're having them turn it in physically, or maybe they're supposed to turn it in the day before or something. Well, in class, we could do additional things by having a quiz and saying, okay, we're having a short quiz dealing with what you turned in. What was the thesis? What were the three main points? What is a significant aspect of this essay that's personal that you put into it? Again, this type of thing could be something that this is a short quiz that they have to know what they did in order to succeed in this quiz, right? So we're holding them personally accountable for what they've created, for the content that they've put together with the AI. The idea here is that they would be fully aware, fully understanding of what they created because they also had to verify. And this is one way to help hold them accountable for that. Another big way, this is what I definitely recommend, would be that, okay, so here's my class. My class is 25 students. And we just had this assignment. They had to create this type of essay, whatever type it is. And now they've turned it in. And now in class, I tell them, okay, guess what? And I've prepared them ahead of time. We're going to have 3 presentations today on what the essay covered. So they all have different essays that they've covered, and now 3 of them are going to stand up and give a presentation. This doesn't have to be anything crazy elaborate. It could be something as simple as saying, oh yeah, my essay dealt with this, and the main concepts dealt with these things and these things, and this was important because of this. That only takes like 3 minutes. That only takes like 5 minutes, whatever you think would be appropriate for this. And you don't have to have every single student do it. You could tell all the students, hey, everyone has to be prepared. And by the end of the semester, everyone will give a presentation, but you don't know when. You simply all have to be prepared. So during that class time, you might only have 3, 4, or 5 students give very short presentations. And then for the next assignment, have 3 or 5 other ones do the same thing. This is another way to really hold students accountable for what they're going through, for what they're learning, for what they're understanding. So this is a powerful way to put this all together, to have them, again, use their foundational knowledge, use AI appropriately, put it all together, and still have an understanding of what they actually created. So that would be a powerful way as well. So there you go. This is the 4-phase technique. You can see by doing things in this way, we really do accomplish a lot because we're developing AI literacy. We're helping students have this development of skills in using AI. We're definitely helping them to develop foundational skills, foundational knowledge dealing with proper writing technique. And then now we're helping them see the different essay types, and then they're using the AI effectively and appropriately to actually create their writing. And it's not a done deal until they go through, verify, add additional information, make sure that this is appropriate for what's being assigned, and then go from there. So we're hitting a lot of different things by using this method, by using this technique. And the big thing here is that now we don't have to spend this time talking about academic misconduct because they used AI. No, instead, we're developing their skills and capability to use AI in the proper, effective way, which now is matching much more to what is going to be expected of them once they graduate. This is going to be a big thing. Now we are preparing students properly for what they're going to be facing in the outside world in a regular job environment. Now, I know there's going to be some pushback to this, and that's okay. Let's have a good discussion on this, right? I've had some instructors that already told me that they're against this because this doesn't fully develop someone to be this good writer for to write novels and stuff. But you have to remember, 99% of the students will never write novels. They're going to be focused on their job, their specific thing that deals with using writing, but in a different way. They're writing business proposals, they're writing organizational reports, different things, not necessarily novels. So they do need to develop these skills. And the thing is, this could be a component of freshman seminar, of initial writing courses. This doesn't have to be part of advanced writing, right? You're going to be making the decision because you're the subject matter expert on how much to use AI, how much to allow AI. But it is important that we continue to develop students' capability to use AI, but to still maintain good writing capability. So that's the focus of this method because it builds foundational knowledge. It helps them to have an understanding to see what right looks like, and then to use AI effectively and appropriately to make this final overall writing, this composition. So I'm very interested in your thoughts on this. Where might we tweak it a bit? Where might we change some things to make it even more effective? I'm very open to changes, to modifications on this four-phase technique so that we can make something that's really effective, that helps instructors so that they don't have to spend all this time with academic misconduct issues, but still properly develop students' AI literacy and AI skills development overall. So I'm looking forward to reading all your thoughts and comments on this. So I appreciate your time in thinking about this and in helping to develop this for everyone else as well. And remember, learning is for life. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this with as many people as possible so that we can get input on this, so that we can develop the best method possible to help students really develop their writing techniques and to help use AI as an effective tool to help us accomplish this.